Well, thank you, Corey. Shannon Appraisal Services provides residential appraisals in Lynn County and the surrounding area. And joining me with some Appraisal 101 is owner Jeff Shannon. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So the first thing we want to kind of debunk, there's a difference between assessments and appraisals. So can you clarify the difference? Because I think there's some confusion.
There is some confusion. Assessors do property taxes. That's the easiest way to remember it. Assessors do property taxes. They're there to do the assessment. They determine assessed value. Appraisers determine market value. Two completely different things.
So you were not responsible for property taxes going?
No, not at all. Not me.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So we want to talk about the different types of appraisals. What are they?
Well, so you got your most common is your bank appraisal, right? You're going to do a refinance on the house. Maybe you're doing an addition, cash out equity kind of loan. That's going to be a bank appraisal. I do a lot of private work where I'm doing divorce appraisals, estate appraisals, maybe there's a death in the family and the estate needs to determine the value. I also do a lot of pre-listing appraisals where you're thinking about selling the house, you don't really know what it's worth, the market's been crazy, so it's a good idea to get an appraisal. You may not know, and it may not always be the same as the assessed value. Two different completely things.
Right, two very different things.
Assessed value and market value. I'm determining market value, what it'll sell for on an open market.
Right, and you can't just look at a house that like these two are in the same neighborhood. There's a lot that goes into it.
Sure, absolutely. So when I come to do an appraisal, I'm walking through the house, eyes on, right? So I'm checking for condition, I'm checking for quality, room counts, condition, things of that nature. And then I'm going to go back to the office and I'm going to look for comparables. If you have a ranch design home, I'm going to look for ranch design homes starting in your neighborhood. If I can't find them in your neighborhood, I'll go out a little further. But I'm not going to be using two stories for ranch designs as far as comps. We call them comps.
Right.
Yeah.
And you kind of touched on this a little bit, but what are some of the uses for appraisals? Because most people think it's for selling a home, something a bank order, but there's other uses.
Yeah, I mean, so anytime you're separating, you're parting away from your home, you should get an appraisal. You could be, you're going through a divorce, right? So I do a lot of divorce appraisal. I work with attorneys. It's a little tricky just because you got maybe some volatile situations and some emotions. And then, if you get two appraisers with two different appraisals, you may end up in court doing expert witness testimony. So that's one private appraisal that I do. Pre-listing appraisals are a lot of fun. So it's kind of a little case study I get to do on myself where I'll come in and I'll do an appraisal for you, give you an idea what your home is worth, give you an idea maybe what you should list it for, and then you put it on the market, and then maybe 60 days later we see what it sold for. So it's like I give you the answer up front, but then I got to double check myself on the backside to see how accurate I was.
And appraisals are very, very important for the sale of a home.
Well, actually, yes, they are, because it's the most valuable asset you have, right? So why not spend a few $100 to get the appraisal and really get it figured out?
Yes. Can people kind of dispute appraisals, or how does that work?
Yeah. So specifically with a bank appraisal, if you have an appraisal that come in and you think maybe it's a little low or not really where you thought it should be, contact your loan officer. There's a process. It's called a reconsideration of value, or commonly known as a rebuttal. It's a simple form where the homeowner will provide information to the loan officer, other comparables maybe they should have considered, or maybe an oversight within the appraisal, and then they'll get a hold of the appraiser. The loan officer will get a hold of the appraiser and have them give a response. And if there is something that we overlooked, we can go back and change the value. It's not a crime. Yeah.
One thing we should mention too, we were talking about assessments and appraisals. If you go in and appraise someone's home, you don't run to the county then or the city and say, hey, look at what this is appraised for.
I get that all the time. I get that all the time. So I've had homeowners like, when we're done with this, you're not going to go to the assessor with this information. No, we have nothing to do. Your appraisal is confidential information, so I don't even share it with other appraisers. It's me, the bank, and the homeowner. That's who has use it. Unless I can get permission from everybody involved. Yeah.
What do you love about doing this?
Actually, I love doing the inspections, honestly. I work from home, I own my own business, so I don't have a lot of people to work with. So when I'm out in the field, I'm doing the inspections, I'm meeting people, having conversations, learning about their lives, new babies, insurance claims, things like that. And I get a lot of questions, just like this, free advice, I guess, which is great. And then, meeting the pets and, having the privilege to tour the home, and I've seen some pretty cool homes. I've seen Homes with full-length basketball courts in them.
Oh, wow.
I've seen homes with indoor, in-ground pools and saunas and stuff like that. So
Okay.
it's a privilege to get to go through these homes. So it's
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
I bet.
Yeah.
And where can people find you and get more information?
The website, shannonappraisalservices.com, or
Okay.
give me a call at 319-899-4244.
Great. Thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for clearing up the assessment versus appraisal.
Yes.
Yeah, so people don't come at you with pitchforks
Anytime.
for their assessment.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Nice to see you.
Appreciate it.
You bet.
All right. Well,